wokeness that outraged you so much was Republican framing, was right-wing media framing.
Oh,
that
God.
I mean, again,
John,
yes,
that's
I
not
am
the
telling you
case.
this.
When someone is born, there is a default setting for humans, male and female. If it's got a dick, it's probably a boy.
It's
Some
terrifying.
kids these days actually just do want to be trans.
I
It's
don't
cooler,
agree.
John.
I don't
It's
agree.
a thing.
Nope.
Oh,
I don't agree.
come on.
I don't agree with Bill Maher.
I know.
I think it's inflation. I think Americans hate inflation.
That certainly was
They hate
part
inflation, they hate riots, and they hate black women.
They don't
and they hate trans people.
Oh, God, John, we're not
Dude,
gonna...
they just spent hundreds of millions
They
of dollars
don't hate
demonizing
black...
trans people. And that is disgusting.
Yeah,
That
we
is-
shouldn't talk politics.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope all's good wherever you are. Bill Maher had Jon Cryer on his show, and listen, this was a bad idea for Jon Cryer. If you're an actor, like if you're selling a product, look what happened to Bud Light. Just sell your stupid product to everybody and don't talk politics. If you're an actor, stay in your lane. You're good at pretending. You're not good at real life. Stay in your lane. Bill Maher, who is a liberal with TDS, absolutely took a massive dump all over Jon Cryer here and totally crushed him. Let's get to the video when they first talk about women's rights and immigration.
I think the whole country, even unless you're like stupid woke, I hope you're not, but you know, it is Hollywood.
Somewhat stupidly woke.
Okay. The whole country was like, I mean, I think the biggest issue for the election, one of the biggest ones, was Democrats pointlessly, totally just punted on immigration and let anybody who wanted to walk in for 3.5 years did. And, you know.
Well, I think they would probably disagree. The people walking in probably felt like it was a little harder.
No, actually, there's a great 60 Minutes piece on it where the border, I mean, you don't get 8 million people here by making it difficult. But you see they're walking through and the border guys are just watching them do it. They're just watching them walk past. You never saw that?
I did not see that.
See, that doesn't get in the liberal media. That's the problem, is the bubbles we live in.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, 60 Minutes arguably is the liberal media. So I don't think that
right. But 60 Minutes is still a show that I think, you know, can not as consistent as it used to, but they do things like that.
Mm-hmm.
They also did a great piece some years ago about a woman in London who was in the Muslim neighborhoods, and, you know, they're screaming at her because she's wearing a skirt and stuff like that. And, you know, the point of it was, you know, there are places in Western civilizations that are like run not by Western standards.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't mean they're just different.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there are cultural enclaves everywhere. You know,
right, but we should agree that women should be able to wear what they want.
Yes.
If you don't agree with that, then you're not a liberal to begin with.
Well,
women,
yes.
Call me a crazy liberal, but I think women should have freedom.
I agree as well.
Okay.
I agree as well.
But they don't in these neighborhoods. It was the 60 Minutes piece that they did.
One could argue that that women don't have the freedom to dress where they are, dress how they want to dress. In many places, they used to get catcalled all the time. They used to, you know, Well,
we're talking about now.
Well,
yeah, a lot of shit used to happen, but what's going on now in the world? Would you really want to have your wife live in Gaza or any place where? No, I mean before
war-torn strip of desert.
No, even before the war,
you know,
where she would have to cover up.
Well, again, that's not. I don't live there. It's not my culture. You know.
And you won't judge it.
I'm not going to judge it. No, but again, this is not
crazy woke to me.
Okay.
That's where it all went off the rails. When we became so tolerant that we tolerate intolerance. I mean, you would never allow something like that to happen in this country. If they proposed a law tomorrow at the LA City Council, women have to cover their face when they go out. I assume you'd be against that.
Yeah, what they don't want to say here, they don't want to say the word Muslim. I'm going to say it because I'm a big fan of Europe. And if you've been there lately, over the last, let's call it 10 years, you've seen the progression of what used to be a great part of the world to a total dump. Muslims coming to live in America, in Britain, in Western countries enjoy way more rights, Among them, more freedom of worship than they can do in any Islamic country on earth. But we have a problem when the failures of Islam throughout the world, the failures of Islamic societies, come to America. And you have Hamas rallies in the streets. When their intolerance of freedom of consciousness, their intolerance of apostate, their intolerance of freedom of expression, of freedom of speech, their intolerance of minorities, their intolerance of sexual minorities, their intolerance of gays, their intolerance of women. Half the population are women. Certain parts of the country and certain parts of Europe, these people are calling for a parallel legal system so they can practice Sharia law in European cities. This is monstrous. No other group behaves like this, asking for parallel laws. You come to America, you're going to be American first. America first. You come to Canada, you're going to be Canada first. You go to England, you're England first. Hey, look, you don't like it, go back to your country. Because when in Rome, if somebody moved to a Muslim country, you're freaking sure they would have to follow the rules there. Let's get back to it.
Which, I don't feel like demonizing immigrants and migrants and saying that you want to deport millions of people. I think the history of mass deportations is horrifying.
But there's but we weren't talking about deportations. Of course, that's horrifying.
Yes.
And an overcorrection. What we were talking about was letting
Democrats
too many people in to begin with.
But too many people, and what? Well, again, this is going to be a long conversation that we probably. Is this how you want to spend your time?
I never have any plan.
You did 2,000 episodes of Politically Incorrect.
I never have any.
And you're still going down this.
I never have any plan for this show.
Oh, okay.
Plainly.
Yes, clearly.
So, yeah, if you don't want to talk about that politics at all.
Well,
I shouldn't, because I really started this podcast to get away from it. So you're right. I kind of fucked up.
Yes.
But I don't know. Sometimes people say things that trigger me. And of course, we just had the election, and I feel like my conscience is very clear. I warned everybody about Trump, and then I warned them about what would get him reelected, which was stupid wokeness, which is what got him reelected. So I feel my conscience is very clear that I told you and I told you and I told you, and I lost fans for it. You know, lots of the super woke that like I'm not woke enough for them. Yeah, but like I think I had it right. Like that kind of stuff is what lost the election for the Democrats. It's in all.
Maybe part of it. I don't know. I think a lot.
They have polling on it.
I think it's inflation. I think Americans hate inflation.
That certainly was
They hate
part
inflation,
of it.
they hate riots, and they hate black women.
They don't
and they hate trans people.
Oh, God, John, we're not
Dude,
going to...
they just spent hundreds of millions of dollars
don't hate
demonizing trans people. And that's disgusting.
Yeah,
that
we shouldn't talk politics.
Okay, we shouldn't. We shouldn't.
Is,
great. We don't have to.
No, and this, you know, I mean, I have this kind of relationship with people on the right also who like, yeah, it's just going to take so long to even have this discussion. And I want, just like I would like to deprogram them, I feel like there's things that don't get in your bubble on the left that I would love to deprogram, but it's probably not the place to do it.
Yeah.
But, you know.
You can try. if that's how you want to spend your leisure hours.
No, I mean
deprogramming Ducky. There's a spinoff. There's a spinoff. But I feel like the immigration argument gets sidetracked because people just assume that there's a lot of generalizations about immigrants that dehumanize them and are untrue. You are mad that they let that many immigrants in because you think they increase crime? Because they don't. Because they increase they decrease wages? Well, no, they don't. There's a whole bunch of arguments that anti-immigration people make, and you say, okay, Democrats left them in.
I'm not an anti-immigration people.
You say
what I said was
wait a minute.
Okay.
So you're the one saying Democrats are letting in immigrants, and they punted it. Okay, you're absolutely right. Immigration did go up during those years.
Asylum. They changed the definition of asylum, and they immediately reversed Trump's like stay in Mexico or wait in Mexico or something. He had a different
chill
policy.
out in Mexico.
I mean, chill out in Mexico. Yes.
Just fucking chill, man. Wait there.
And we were still, letting in, as we should. We are a nation of immigrants, and we need immigrants.
There you go.
But most Americans felt, including lots of Democrats and people of color, and he won the Latino vote by half. You know, come on, man. Like, at a certain point, everybody was around the idea that, okay, immigration, fine, but it has to be somewhat orderly, and not anyone.
Yes, and again,
and asylum had a certain specific meaning, which went up in the air. They overcorrected.
You could be right. I don't know.
Yeah.
Jon Cryer making himself out to be an absolute tool on this podcast. This was a bad idea for him to talk politics. He wanted to, so more power to him. But then again, he's part of that woke Hollywood out-of-touch bubble that couldn't tell you what the price of a carton of eggs is or the price of milk is. They live there in their Malibu mansions. He's probably collecting tons of royalty checks for that show that he was on, Two Men and a Boy, the Charlie Sheen show. He has no idea what goes on for Mr. and Mrs. Middle-Class America. No idea. Before we get back to it, guys, if you don't mind smashing that thumbs up button for your boy, that would really be appreciated. And if it's not your first time here and you're not yet subscribed, hopefully this will be the video in which I can earn your subscription. Now let's get to the main part of the video where they talk about gender affirming care, and this is a doozy.
I gutted the left like a fish last week.
Thanks.
Some of the woke people who are no longer fans would have hated it.
Okay.
Zillions of other people loved it because they deserved it. But I'm just bringing this up to say the concluding remarks after I told them that the Democratic Party had turned into a Portlandia sketch.
Again, I felt like they tacked to the right quite a bit in this. Again, they tacked right on immigration.
You're a Hollywood in the bubble, blue sky,
dude.
I know this town.
You're a man of the people, Bill. Is that it?
Much more.
Oh, really? And
you're part of the Hollywood community that is embraced. I am not. And that's okay.
I disagree. We embrace you.
No.
I almost literally embraced you when you came in the room.
And went to Crazy Town way too often. Now you blew it. You blew it. You blew it.
I did not. But go ahead.
Lost everything. Wow. So I have no one to champion and defend my issues.
But I would say all of the wokeness that outraged you so much was Republican framing, was right-wing media framing.
Oh,
that,
God.
I mean, again,
John,
yes,
that's
I
not
am telling you this.
No,
I am, yes, that is the case.
It's not framing.
That is the case,
I do
Bill
this for a living.
Okay.
I have a whole staff to vet this. I'm very suspicious of everything from the left or the right. So if you're telling me that I've been hoodwinked, just start with the fact that America does this in a way nobody else does. That doesn't mean, I'm not saying it's necessarily definitely wrong, although I do think it is, but no other country does self-diagnosis by children, no age limit.
That's not what's occurring.
That is what is occurring. Okay, we've elucidated our points enough. People get where we're coming from, and they just, they'll trust me. In this town, everybody, you'll be the big champion. You own Bill Maher because they just want to agree with you. And my take on this, just as like super friend to friend now, is just like the people in this town. They just want to be warriors, social justice warriors. So they're just always looking for a cause, and it's so much more often about them than the cause itself. Not that they're not sincere about stuff, but like what bugs Dave Chappelle so much about the trans thing, I think it's the fact that they want to make it the social justice issue of their generation, and it just doesn't compare to other ones. It's important. It's an issue. I think it's great we live in a time when trans people can be, respected and protected, but you're asking too much often to rewrite like the idea that when someone is born, there is a default setting for humans, male and female. If it's got a dick, it's probably a boy. And if it's not, we'll deal with that. We'll deal with that in a compassionate way.
Well, yeah.
But we'll also be apprised of the idea that children don't know shit about anything. Yes, sometimes it is obvious, and we should address it that way. But I mean, kids, Christ Almighty! I mean, the idea that I would, as a child, would have had to have dealt with something like this.
Well, again, the people that go through it don't say this is the life I want. No parent wants to be in the midst of those choices. It's
Some
terrifying.
kids these days actually just do want to be trans.
I
It's
don't
cooler,
agree.
John.
I don't
It's
agree.
a thing.
Nope.
Oh,
I don't agree.
come on.
I don't agree with Bill Maher. That's the name of the show tonight.
Well, your eyes are not open to that, I think. There are some kids, especially, why is it like so much more prevalent, like here than Indiana?
Well,
are they suppressing it there? Maybe a little.
There's a societal suppression, but it's like left-handedism. Being left-handed was suppressed for for thousands of years amongst human beings. But once it was apparently in the 30s, scientists basically said there's no left-handedness doesn't actually do anything bad.
Right.
Left-handedness shot up.
Absolutely mental. You can see when Bill Maher is the absolute voice of reason in a conversation, to me, is nuts. But he's an old school liberal. This is why you see a lot of the left going to the right now. This is not your dad's Republican Party. The tides have turned. I'm somebody I'm not a registered Republican. I identify my values as conservative. I was raised that way. My brothers, my sisters are conservative people. But as far as what party I align with, it has to do with who represents my values and my ethics. I vote for people based on policies, not because I've been aligned to the one party my whole life that I'm just going to vote that forever. Absolutely not. And we're seeing that with a lot of people on the left now. You got the RFKs, the Tulsi Gabbards, that, Elon Musk, people that would have normally voted Democratic. RFK's a freaking Kennedy. Now he's part of the Trump administration. Anyways, I'm here for it. This was fun to watch. I love the fact that Bill Maher's having the conversations. I don't care if I agree with the guy or not. He debates Republicans, he debates liberals, Democrats, whatever. If you enjoyed the video, smash that thumbs up button for your boy. Consider subscribing to the channel, help it grow. Catch you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.